Welcome back. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Mash and Drum Whiskey Room on this Whiskey Wednesday beautiful night. What's going on, everybody? I am Jason C. Welcome back to the Mash and Drum, guys. After a very, very long week off for me, I actually caught a little bit of a nasal thing that I have that I'm battling through, but luckily I could still nose and taste whiskey. I think pretty good. I did a little bit of a test earlier today. It's kind of on its last leg, so really good timing for tonight, because tonight we got an epic blind tasting, which we will talk about a little bit later. But I do want to, talk about some of the other great stuff that we got lined up tonight to talk about. I wanted to talk a little bit about bourbon's next trend, which was a really wonderful article written on Breaking Bourbon by Eric Hasman. Great article. If you guys haven't written it yet, I'll drop it in the chat once we get to that point. But it's an interesting point in whiskey where we are today as far as what that next trend is going to be. I think each and every year, especially when we hit New Year's, getting into the next year, we try to figure out what those next trends are going to be. But it's, after reading the article, it's like, man, it does kind of seem that way, but we'll get into that a little bit later, guys. We really want to get your feedback. Love talking to you guys. But yeah, I'm fired up tonight. Really glad to be back. Really, I have a lot of news to talk about, even for next week's live stream with Nancy Fraley. We'll get into that. We'll talk about the announcement of Blendageddon 7. Is it? Yeah. It's all happening. It's all happening, guys. So strap in, get ready for a great night, pour some whiskey. We're just going to shoot the shit, have a good time, guys. It's going to be a lot of fun tonight. So, of course, let me say hi to some folks in the chat as we get started here. Sugar Kitty, first one in the house. What is going on, Sugar Kitty? Meow. What's going on? 96 Millie Man is here. Yes, sir. Welcome back. James Lay, he's ready to go. Joey B, what's going on, buddy? Nice to see you, too. William Wiley is here. We got Kim, may the Schwartz be with you. Also followed by Mark, may the Schwartz be with you. What is going on, you twos? Can't wait to see you guys tomorrow. Isaac Camacho is here. What's going on, Isaac? Nice to see you, man. Mike Widener is here. Cheers, fellow chasers. Stephen Walt is here. What's going on? We got Forlorn Hope is here. Ham Turkey in the house. Josh Fritz. We got Michael Speakerman is here as always. Nice to see you, man. Bo's Wine Guy also here. We got KCD in the house. We got Tim Cornet. Whiskey Knows. What's going on, Marty Party? Nice to see you. We got Patrick Grelick or Grelick. Patrick Grelick. I'll go with Grelick. Hope to taste one, but probably will never get one. I'm not sure who he's talking to. EJ is here. What's going on, EJ? Nice to see you, man. A-Brod is here. We got Russ L. We got Jeff Perkins. We got Gert Brooks. What's going on, you big, beautiful bastard? Nice to see you, man. Ben Drammond is here. What's going on, Ben? Nice to see you, man. We got Gandhi Road. Nice to see you. Joe the Sample Guy. Dr. Sped is here. Took the M&J Rare Character ride to a bottle share tonight. Everyone loved it. Awesome, man. Always love to hear great feedback on our picks. Nathan Jurgensen is here. What's going on, NJ? Nice to see you, man. He's got a little Springbank in the Glen. That's always good stuff. 4 Leaf Whiskey. Big weekend for 4 Leaf Whiskey coming up, guys. It is the right here in Dublin, Ohio. We have the Dublin Irish Festival. So obviously Stacy's all over that. So we'll see. I don't know. We're going to see if we can make it there. Stacy, I'll let you know. Let's see here. We got David Smith is here. The World's Worst Bourbon channel available is here, actually putting out some of the best bourbon channel stuff going on right now. Sorry, Gary. But thanks for being here, guys. Let's see. Buffalo Lou is here. We got Richie Z, the legend. Michael Bortner, Russell, Mike Daly, C.A. Scotty's here. A bunch more people coming in here. Anthony Macchio. What's going on? We got, let's see, Jay Gons is here. And Dave Remstrom, Maurice Pastons, Rust Keys, Jason Coates. What's going on, Doppelganger? We got Emmanuel Elvira is here. He says, hello, hello. Hello. Is that how you say it? Hello. Robert Mark Smith and Tim Taylor. John Cloud is here. And a bunch more coming in. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just trying to catch up. Giselle's Bourbon. I see Whiskey Amadon OH is here. Man, a lot of folks in here tonight. Yo, bro, good to see you, man. Good to see you too. Salute, let's say Stefano Marzullo. Salute. Let's see, Keith Stepanski. Hey, Bourbon is here, Whiskey Uncensored in the house, and we are good to go. So, yeah, guys, so I spent my my week-long trip in Chicago last week, running around like crazy for work, but it was, event went well, so now my year starts to calm down a little bit, which is kind of nice. Definitely get more into, a lot more regular content. Try to keep up with some content while I was away. I think I really dropped like 2 or 3 videos, something like that. But yeah, I have to get back into the cadence and getting back into it. I didn't have time to record for a little while there. But yeah, I'm good to be back. I'm kind of like fired up again. Once I get past this little bit of a cold nasal thing I got going on, it's full steam ahead, baby. The march to 100,000 continues. I don't know if we'll hit it here in 2024, but sure as hell going to try. So let's see. Did you go to Binny's? No, I did not have a chance to go whiskey hunting, unfortunately. But actually, there was a good buddy of mine that was there that actually had a few samples that he brought and stuff. It was really cool. So yeah, so fun stuff. Yeah, I could still smell something, thank God. So this, what I'm tasting right now, or what I have in the glass, for all you Master Journey fans right here, this is the new Copper and Cask single barrel that we are dropping this Friday. I think I F up on passing on the Russell's 15, says Jerry Hernandez. Oh, after watching the quadruple match? Yeah, I mean, well, so we'll talk about the blind here in a little bit. We have Russell's 15 in the blind again tonight, going against some other heavy hitters. We'll see how it does. But let's go to the bottle cam. The bottle cam is back. Copper and Cask. We have the Master Journey. This is our next pick that we're releasing. This is the MGP High Ride Mash Bill. However, we tried 16 different barrels before we landed on this, and this barrel is an absolute hitter. No gimmicks, no finishes, no double oaks, just a straight up delicious bourbon. This was what was requested by our group, so here it is. Yeah, it's nice and dark too. So, well, you guys take a look at the color on it. It's got a really nice color. It is, yeah, look at that. Look at the Master Drum Glen looking beautiful there. There you go. Any truth to the rumor that Cooper's Craft Barrel Reserve 100 is discontinued? You know what? I can't. I've heard different things, and I don't want to put any false narratives out there or rumors that I've heard personally. But I'll say this: that in a time where whiskey and bourbon sales are slowing down, I could see a couple of brands kind of taking a back seat or maybe going away for a little while, if not completely. I wouldn't rule out Cooper's Craft because Cooper's Craft necessarily isn't under an Old Forester or Jack Daniel's umbrella. It is owned by Brown-Forman. However, if they do want to condense certain things, to streamline their other operations, or they just don't want to continue to make that because they want to put some of that whiskey into something else. I mean, it happens all the time. So as much as I wouldn't rule it out, I wouldn't say it's a definite either. I mean, it's like the same rumor with Old Grandad 114. Every year it's supposed to go away. But, again, just get facts before you start doing all that, people. Just saying. The 9-year Copper and Cask small batch is amazing, says Stephen Walt. Yeah, some of this is some really good stuff. Jason, what's up with the different shaped Green River bottle? Oh, we'll get into that little bottle here. This bottle of Green River, this is a full liter bottle here, and there's a reason for that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. If you guys follow Whiskey social media, this bottle has been kind of hitting the last couple days because the embargo has been lifted on that bottle, and that's why we're able to talk about it tonight. So we'll get into that one a little bit. Let's see. No, Cooper's is damn good. Yeah, I hope not, because Cooper's Craft 100 is one of my favorite budget pours of all time. It still is. I'm actually doing a video on this. I mean, follow me if you can. So I'm working on this video for so you know how everybody, like every week, You have bourbons that are in your rotation, like bourbons that you just kind of always go back to, like year after year after year. And each year, those bourbons may change. They may not change. So I've kind of went back into the, into the archives. And I was looking like over the last, like since 2018, since I started the Master and Drum Whiskey channel, what have been those bourbons that I have, put in and out of my rotation year after year after year? Have some of them stayed the same? There are some that have, and they have some that have changed. And so I'm doing a whole video on my yearly rotation bourbons year over year. I just thought it was a kind of a cool idea that popped in my head. I'm like, this might be cool just to kind of see like how your palate changes, what you like, what you still like, what you don't like now. And there was a distinct cutoff into a transition for some bottles that I used to drink versus some others that you'll see. You could probably guess 1920 from Old Forester is definitely one of them. But there are a couple of other bottles in there too. And not because they got bad or worse, or I don't know, just because I think my palate evolved a little bit over time and I just like different stuff. I just think it's kind of a cool study in how we go through our, certain, the paths that we take, or to quote my buddy Scott, our bourbon journeys as we go through. Cheers to Scott, by the way. It's his birthday. So everybody raise a glass to Scott the Hawk. It is his birthday today. I think he's turning 178. I got to ask him. I'm not sure. I think it's less than that, but I'm not. Maybe by a few years, but we'll see. The Master Drum, what is that Mexican bottle in the middle of the copper and cask in the Green River? Mexican bottle. Oh, this is the still. Oh, I can't wait to get into this tonight. Look at the color on this baby. Look, you can't even see through it. This is the new Still Austin Madeira finish. And oh my God, I cannot wait to taste this tonight, guys. This looks incredible. I do want to happy birthday and solo dirty. Oh, it was yesterday? Yeah, that shows how sucky of a friend I am. I didn't even text him yesterday. I texted him today, though. Happy birthday, Scott. But yeah, this Still Austin, they just released this at the distillery only, but had a good buddy of mine grab this one of my patrons. So we're going to try that thing tonight. So, Jason, your opinion, could Russell Reserve 15 beat out a BTAC or Pappy in a blind? Guess what, Mike? We're going to find out tonight, because I was cleaning through my whiskey room and I found a couple of samples of Pappy 15 that I had. I don't even know when they're from, I think I know who sent them, because it's hard to misread the handwriting, because it's the worst handwriting ever. So I think I got it from Matt over at Whiskey Crusaders. But totally forgot. I asked him for those a long time ago. He had a bottle of Pappy 15. I wanted to put in a blind, and I had a 1 ounce sample left. So I threw that in the blind tonight. So tonight's blind will consist of Russell's 15, Pappy 15, last year's Michter's 10 year, which is, as we know, about 14 years old. The Heaven Hill 17 from last year, or 2 years ago. Four Roses 135th. And the Lux Row 14-year double barrel blend that I just got in Kentucky a couple weeks ago. So that's the blind. I mean, it's crazy blind tonight. So we'll taste through those, and we'll see how Russell's 15 fares in that blind, because a lot of people have been asking me to put it against some other things. So I figured, why not do that tonight as we're kind of talking through everything. So, yeah, so we'll do that. Eric Farrer says, I haven't had a really good Still Austin special release yet. You didn't like the port finish, Eric? That one was pretty good. Yeah, rough night on the job tonight. It's going to be, it's going to be tough. So this copper and cask single barrel. Yeah, the Lux Row. So this one. So this bottle obviously says 12 on the label. So this is the one you get at Lux Row. However, if you do the math with the dates, it's actually 14 years old. So that's there is 14-year-old whiskey in this blend. Let me see the exact dates here. So let's see here. So yeah, both barrels were aged since 2010. So when they pulled it, they were 14 years. So there you go. I just picked this up, so 14 years old. That's why you got to look at those dates on those bottles. Sometimes you find a gem. Prozac says, man, just opened the R Bourbon River Roots malted whiskey. That's 148 proof, and I'm not a fan. Hard to stomach that $250 price tag. I mean, malt could be funny, though. So is the Still Austin Madeira sold out? Probably is. The Four Roses 135th just doesn't hit for me. I'm hoping it'll open up with time. Michael Peer does open up. Just give it a little, even a couple drops of water really opens that whiskey up a little bit too. We here at Lux Row don't believe in math. Well, it's like what Michter's 10 does. Like Michter's 10-year, obviously the whiskey in the bottle is older than 10 years. However, they don't want to change the label. So let me throw that up. Thanks for being here, guys. Cheers, and let's get the night going. Let's talk a little bit about this pick coming out Friday. Oh, holy hell. I know why we picked this. This is old school, baby. This is old school MGP, cherry cola, dark fruit, spice. That thing's ridiculous. So this is just under 8 years old. This is literally like 7 years and 11 months. It's right at the 8-year mark. Obviously, it says 7 years because it misses the 8 by like let me see here. June. Oh, that's January. By 2 months, it misses it. So, but it is good stuff. So you guys that are in the group Friday, I'm telling you, do not sleep on the Copper and Cask. I know it's more MGP, but again, Scott and I don't pick MGP lightly. It's got to be an absolute crusher of a bourbon before we put our name on it. That's why we went through 16 barrels. They were sending us everything under the sun before we landed on that barrel, and that barrel is ridiculous. So this is not the Florida age stuff, Steven. I know a lot of people have been asking us that. The Florida age samples that we got were just not great. They tasted a little musty, a little grassy. That bitter note was coming through for me. So now I've had a couple of those Florida age Copper and Cask barrels that were absolute monsters, but the samples that we got to try, unfortunately, weren't doing it. So yeah, Max, I would put this Copper and Cask up there with some of our past Nashville picks. It's that good. So, yep. Would you choose that or the Jorge T Swag? Oh. I know the Jorge T Swag, I think, is more cherry than this is. Once you get past the cherry, this starts getting into a little bit more of a butterscotch note. This is so stupid good. I could drink this all night. This is crushable. It's 120 something proof, right? 120. It's 121.6, I believe. 120.6. 121.6. So nice proof point too. So all right. Stephen Walt says that sucks. Yeah, we didn't get lucky with one of those Florida barrels, unfortunately. Ben Drammond says slept on it last time, not happening again. Hey, Sandeep Chimas here. So all right. So before we get into the crazy blind tasting, I do want to get into a couple of news stories. We'll crack open some bottles here because I do have a few live reviews I want to get to, and then we'll get into our discussion, obviously, about the future possible trends in whiskey. Again, would love to get your feedback, guys. And while we're doing that, I do want to talk about next week's live stream. Guys, this is happening next friggin' week. Let me just find it. Here it is. An exclusive blind tasting review with Nancy the Nose Fraley, August 7th. 10 blind samples from the legend. This is happening next week, and I'm scared to death, to be honest, because Nancy is she's entrusting me to give her notes on some of these blind samples that she's sending over. The only thing that I know is that I think that they're Joseph Magnus cigar blends. Now, she won't tell me like what they are, when they're from, different details like that. But I think they're from like different eras or something like that. So she wants me to honestly go through them and tell her honestly what I think about each of these samples. And I'm freaking out because, you know, it's Nancy freaking Fraley. So, but she's had some very kind words to say about the channel. And, yeah, it's going to be epic. Also next week, we'll have a little bit of a, so last year I did a little bit of a fundraiser for Lifeline of Ohio here locally. My girlfriend's brother lost their son years ago, and they basically raised money to help donate. So if you have someone that passes away, you could donate it's basically a lifeline. So you could donate one of your kidneys, you know, donate any of your organs to help save a life. And, you know, little Jack, who they lost, I forgot what exactly was used, but little Jack had a organ donated to help save a life. And that person, I believe, still keeps in touch with them. So, you know, unfortunately, I missed like the walk that they do each year because I was traveling, but it's definitely something that holds a deep place in my heart and a strong connection, obviously, because my girlfriend and her family are affiliated with it. So it's not going to be anything crazy, but I will have a bunch of cool bottles up for auction and or for, you know, up for like super chats. I'm not sure how I'm going to do it yet, but I will pick out some bangers, throw them in there, raise a little money just to help them out before their fundraiser closes. So get ready for that. Nancy will be here. And of course, the announcement for Blendageddon 7 will be happening next week. You guys will find out all the details. I'll have the big video announcement. It's going to be epic. So next week, you want to circle your calendar. It's going to be a hell of a night. So, hell yeah. Hey, we got Bruzel in the house. What's going on, Bruzel? Nice to see you, buddy. Bruzel, man, I'm not sure who I spoke to, but I think I emailed somebody in your Discord, hoping to do a collab soon, collab live stream. Let me know when you can do it, man. Be great to collab with you. Ron Miles, the Master Drum, can we contribute a bottle or two to the fundraiser? Awesome cause. Absolutely, Ron. We could definitely talk about that. Thank you so much. Barstow Bourbon Company is just ridiculously amazing, and Ron yeah, man. Ron, you just tug on those heartstrings, man. Bruzel says, sure, where are you located again? I'm in Columbus, Ohio. So I don't know if you're passing through here anytime soon. So real quick, guys, let's go to our first news story here. And this goes to, Woodford Reserve. Guess who? Woodford? Woodford's coming in with their latest distillery series, releasing, celebrating the complexity of malt whiskey. So let's see. Woodford announces the release of their latest whiskey within the brand's experimental distillery series, and it's a blend of 2 malt whiskeys. Master distiller Elizabeth McCall expressed her enthusiasm for their latest release in a statement. It says, this showcases our ability to take complex barrels of whiskey, blend them together, and create a new flavorful product. So this is a mash bill of 100% malt, aged in used barrels and finished in ruby port barrels. The second whiskey is a blend of 5 different malt grains that's matured in new oak barrels. Blended malt hosts a suggested retail price of $65 for a 375 milliliter bottle. Limited quantities are available at specific retailers in Kentucky, and the whiskey can be purchased directly from Woodford. It can also be shipped to Kentucky, New Hampshire, Washington, D.C. Yeah, those are weird states. Okay. In May, Woodford Reserve announced the brand's last distillery series, which was the result of a happy accident. All right, blah, blah, blah. So this has, let's see. All right. Says aroma, raspberry preserves, pumpkin spice, orange peel, palate, raw oak, citrus oil, and candied nutty malt. Okay. Candied nutty malt. Anybody who wants a piece of that? Prozac, are you calling? No, Nebraska's not weird. It's just like an interesting like choice of states, I guess. So yeah, hey, good for you guys. I can get that bottle. You know, I was kind of like, and then I hear the port finish side of it, and I'm like, okay, that's kind of cool. I could maybe get on board with that. I was expecting the tasting notes to be a little bit more chocolatey, but that's not really what was happening. So I don't know. I don't know, man. Eric Daniel, just found your channel. Hello from right down the road in Marysville, Ohio. Hey, what's going on, Marysville? Cheers, Eric. Thanks for tuning in. Jason, where do you recommend getting the sample bottles? I was going to try and participate in blend again, and I want to participate. Just look out 2 ounce sample jars on Amazon. I buy them all the time through Amazon. So there you go. Port double F that. Does happy accident equal happy ending? Asking for a friend. Yeah, I don't know about that. So yeah, we'll get into that, man. All right. This popped up, and this was interesting too, because I was just thinking about this the other day, especially after reading about bourbon's next era, which we'll talk about a little bit later here. But this goes back to American single malt. So, citing competitive pressures, U.S. distillers are urging officials to finalize the American single malt category regulations. So, the Distilled Spirits Council, or DICUS, and the American Single Malt Whiskey Commission sent a letter to the Alcohol and Tobacco Tax and Trade Bureau, also known as the TTB, on Monday, placing a bit of pressure on the organization to finalize the regulations for the American Single Malt Whiskey category. Monday marked the second anniversary of when both organizations reached out to the TTB and asked the Bureau to finalize rules for the proper production process of American single malt, and U.S. distillers are still waiting. Adoption of new regulations and formal standard of identity is critical importance to our members, suppliers, the trade partners, and most importantly, the consumers. They have a significant amount of investment was poured into the category, with brands like Westland, Bear Fight, and even heavy hitters like High West on the trend. They noted global pressure, such as Japan's recent implementation of formal guidelines, and they feel U.S. should be next. So if you guys haven't heard any of the regulations, what they are proposing, here's a quick breakdown. American single malt should be distilled exclusively from 100% malted barley. Now, this is, again, for here in the U.S. Grains other than barley can be used as long as they are clearly denoted on the label. American single malt whiskey should not be matured in anything larger than a 700-liter oak barrel. Used uncharred new and charred new oak barrels are acceptable for maturing American single malts. That makes sense, and I also think it gives them a little bit more flexibility for creativity. Flavoring, coloring, and blending materials are prohibited. I don't see why this is such a hard thing to pass. It sounds pretty cut and dry to me. I think it's got the best of both worlds. You have an area, you have an opportunity to be creative, but at the same time, you also have the opportunity to standardize the category. However, to me, I don't see the rapid growth in American single malt that I think a lot of people were hoping, at least in my opinion. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, it's one of those things where, I don't know, we'll kind of wait and see. Will standardization bring more people to the category? I don't know. I don't think anyone has issues with that technical specs. They just need to bang that gavel. I totally agree. No coloring good, although Scotch distillers think otherwise. Yeah, I mean, Scotch distillers do use coloring still. Dylan P. Crossing my fingers for a Stag 24A review. I was able to snag one today. Did I review 24A? I don't know. I lose track of the Stags. Yeah, if I haven't yet, I'll try. Yeah, with you, Jad. Yet to find one that competes with my top whiskeys this year, so not cutting it, says Tom Harper. Will American Single Malt Standardization add a ban on Claremont Steep because it sucks? That's the problem. I think the Kentucky single malts that have come out of Kentucky, like Claremont Steep, you know, in my opinion, have kind of given American single malt a little bit of a bad name. You know, and I hate to say that because I do love Jim Beam, but however, Claremont Steep should not be like the pinnacle or the representation of what American single malt is, because there's so much great American single malt being made out west, out of Maryland with Old Line. There's some really, really great American single malts that are out there. And I think when a big distiller out of Kentucky creates one and it's not up to par with what those guys are making, the people that haven't tried those really good ones try Claremont Steep for the first time. It just ruins it for everything. It's kind of like when you have your first scotch is like Ardbeg, and people think all scotch tastes like, you know, Band-Aid and iodine and, you know, a burning dentist's office, whatever you want to call it, and they don't want to try anything else. That's what I feel like is happening with American single malt. Again, my opinion, but anybody that I've talked to that has not liked American single malt has cited either Claremont Steep, Yellowstone single malt, and a couple of other, you know, just not great American single malts. I'm like, you got to try the stuff out west. Some of the other stuff being made in the east, I mean, it is what it is. That's a good point. I haven't tried the Westward yet, and I hear it's amazing. Just not a fan of single malt. If that was my jam, I'll be drinking scotch, says Michael Peer. Yeah, I get it. I get it, man. Of all the MGP 95.5 ryes you've had, what has been your favorite so far? Of all the MGP 95.5 ryes, man, that's a lot. I'll have to think about that, Wayne. You might. That's going to take me a minute. I've had so much of that stuff. Yeah, fun fact: 90+% of Scotch isn't peated. That's true. And even the ones that are peated, some of them are lightly peated. So it just, you know, just depends. Cool. JD Twice Barreled American Single Malt. I really enjoyed. Yeah, that one was really. Yeah, I didn't mind that one again, but very chocolatey. I think more of the American single malt flavor profiles are a little bit more chocolatey compared to what you get coming out of Scotland. So, ever tried the Lucky 7, the Proprietor 14-year? Yes, MW. I have a couple of those. Some of them are absolute hitters. Time for a Dram chimes in. Jason, the American single malt category needs to price itself a little bit more sensibly. So much of it is prohibitively priced and will always lose out to cheaper, high-quality Scotch. Yeah, I could see that. Especially from the standpoint of... Now, here's the argument, though. Like, a Kentucky distiller could tell you, we don't have the climate that Scotland has, so everything ages a little bit differently. Now, obviously, that's up for argument. You could kind of debate that back and forth. But when you kind of go back and forth and you look at it, okay, if you're having heavy swaths of temperature, you know, different temperature ranges that happen, yeah, I mean, you can make the argument that maybe something happens a little bit more rapidly here in Kentucky or, you know, here in, I don't know, even if you talk about what they're doing in Maryland or even California. But I don't know, there's still something a little bit more delicate to a Scotch to me than American single malt. American single malt's still somehow a little bit more in your face. Most of them, not all of them. I do think there are a little bit more subtle and sweet ones out there as well. But again, it's just one of those things where if you really want to put the time in to learn and taste American single malt, I think there's enough out there. You're going to find something you like. It's just a matter of whether you want to or not. And I just don't think American single malt has that stranglehold on the American drinker right now to go down that path, especially if they're heavy into bourbon. So we have our event early October. That's taking most of my free time at the moment, says Bruzel. Yeah, I feel you, man. I have my event here coming up at the end of September. So we'll figure something out, man. Jason, have you tried any Keeper's Heart? I have. It's been a while, though. It's been a while. Quintessential and McCarthy's, especially as they get older, are going to kill it. Yeah, I think these are the two outliers. I think, to me, Quintessential, we've talked about Cedar Ridge Quintessential before, and McCarthy's out of Oregon are two of the best representation of American single malts that you're going to taste. I would put that up against any Scotch from Scotland. You know, comparatively age. Obviously, you're not going to compare an 18 or 20-something year Scotch to one of these, but comparatively, 12, 13, 14 year, maybe, I could put those two right up against any Scotch in that category because I think they're that good. But those two just aren't around, unfortunately, for people to try. I hate how excellent McCarthy's is, to be honest. What? You hate how excellent it is? Yeah, the Westward Cask Strength is a bottle that is very, very good. But again, it's just one of those things where not a lot is out there. So, all right, let's go to the next story here, as we kind of took a little bit of a turn. But this one was kind of surprising to see, and I don't know if I haven't seen any of these bottles yet. But have you guys laid eyes on the new Larceny bottle styles? And it looks like Heaven Hill has revamped the Larceny packaging and launched a new campaign inspired by the the story of John Fitzgerald. So they announced new packaging in a campaign called Seize Tonight for its Larceny bourbon brand, inspired by the mischievous antics of the historical figure central to the bourbon world, John E. Fitzgerald. According to the brand, the U.S. Treasury agent used keys to access maturing whiskey and quench his thirst. Okay, that's the story. Larceny's updated packaging features the old Fitzgerald foil seal on the capsule and neck of the bottle and a signature from Fitzgerald himself. The key logo now is the addition of a sculpturally embossed key inspired by the keys Fitzgerald would use to access the special barrels. Fans interested in visiting the brand's website could scan a QR code presented on each bottle. Perhaps the most interesting Easter egg the folks at Heaven Hill have thrown into this new packaging involves Larceny's origin story inscribed on the bottle, but it can only be accessed under black light. The brand claimed it chose the clever move of writing its story in UV ink to honor the fact that Fitzgerald's story was lost to history before being discovered. So now we'll see if this translates to let me see here. We'll see if this ends up translating to the barrel proof. I don't see why it wouldn't, but there you go. You heard it here first. Guys, buy a bottle of that, get yourself a black light, read the lost story of John E. Fitzgerald on the bottle. There you go. Instead of UV ink, they just should have aged it longer. That's fair. That's fair. I like it. Got 342 people watching already tonight, guys. Thanks so much for hanging out. It's already 9:42. My goodness. Make sure you hit the like button while you're hanging out, guys. Hit the subscribe button as well if you haven't yet. I appreciate it. Finally get to break out my black light from the 80s. That's true. Let's get into this bottle right here, guys. Ooh, this bottle just looks... I'm not sure what's going on with the weird angle, but it looks real far back. If you guys can't see it yet, that is the new Elijah Craig Toasted Rye Whiskey, which Elijah Craig says, or Heaven Hill says, will be highly allocated. Got to reverse that. Highly allocated. There you go. On Wednesday, Elijah Craig announced the release of a new whiskey, Elijah Craig Toasted Rye, bottled at 94 proof. This whiskey is a standard straight rye, 51% rye, 35 corn, 14 malted barley, finished in a toasted new oak barrel. According to the brand, these toasted barrels were designed in partnership with Independent Stave. After toasting for nearly an hour, the barrels have a cap placed on them, which Elijah Craig says is used to quickly ramp up the heat to extremely high temperature. Allows phenols to embed in the surface of the barrel, imbuing smoky flavors into the whiskey. For the moment, let's see. This release will be highly allocated and released across the U.S. by late July. So now, with a suggested retail price of $54.99. So I just like how it says across the U.S., but highly allocated. So I'm guessing, each state's going to get like 24 bottles? Like, what's going to happen with that? So I guess we'll see. And let's see here. Last but not least, guys, we're going to dive into this bottle that I have right here. And if you guys haven't seen this bottle yet, this is a new bottle from Green River. Let me just find the article here and make sure I'm not missing anything here. All right, got it. So this is the Green River 1885 bourbon, which this is launched in a 1-liter bottling with a bartender's creativity in mind. So hot off the release of the foolproof bourbon, Green River Distilling Company is taking a stab at the mixology market with a new expression tailored for bartenders. Paying homage to distillers over century-old roots, Green River 1885 is made up of a mash bill of 76 corn, 15% rye, and 9% malted barley before aging a minimum of 4 years. Sold at a healthy 85 proof, the expression will be made available exclusively in 1 liter bottles with a suggested retail price of only $21.99. So, though it's $21.99 for a 1 liter bottle, might sound like a suspiciously good deal. We'll note that previous budget-friendly releases from the brand, including straight rye and wheated bourbon, have tasted flat out fantastic. Let's see. So those hoping to find Green River 1885 can pick it up in Kentucky, Indiana, Ohio, Tennessee, Michigan, Texas, Maryland, Delaware, and the District of Columbia. For more information, go to the distiller's website for more information. So there it is. And basically, that's what we're going to taste right now. And let me put this one to the side here. And I do want to grab the regular Green River because Mr. Ron Miles told me that it's pretty different. So let's take a, I got to say that's pretty dark for only 80. Oh, that's the wrong bottle. Wrong one. Redo. I'm like, yeah, that's pretty dark. Oh, that smells good. I'll keep that over here. This is what happens when you're off for a week, guys. You don't even know what bottle you're pouring anymore. Green River, there we go. Now we got the right bottle. All right, so let me throw this on the bottle cam real quick again for you guys. You can take a look at that. And while you're taking a look at that, I'm going to go grab the next one, the Green River, the regular bourbon here. All right. And then here's the color on this. So yeah, definitely a little lighter. There you go. And we're back. All right. Healthy 85 proofs. Yeah, healthy 85 proofer. All right, so here's the regular Kentucky, or I should say the regular Green River. All right, let's get this one up here. Let's get this one here. Jason, why didn't Green River just do a larger version of their standard bottle? Again, I think being that it's 85, only 85 proof, I have a feeling this is a different type of blend that they're trying to create here. Hey, Whiskey Tornado's here. Nice, Glenn. What's up, man? I mean, first thing that jumps out of the glass for this 1885 is just pure apple. Apple all day long. Like even being slightly stuffy, like the apple jumps out of the glass. Maybe a little bit of a bit of honey candy. Not like pure honey, but kind of like that bit of honey, like candy type note. You know, your vanillas, caramels. I mean, I could see this being a great little cocktail bourbon. Let's give this a try. Yeah, it's probably younger too. Wow, a lot of caramel apple on the palate on that one. Ton of caramel apple. That's pretty much what, I mean, I could see that being a great mixer. Yeah, this is way, the regular Green River, yeah, the regular Green River has a little bit more of a richness to it. It's a little bit darker. Again, like that cherry note starts to come out a little bit more on the Green River, the regular Green River. Oh, yeah. There's still some of that apple here in the Green River. However, there's just some more deeper, richer flavors to it. Like everything is just kind of taken up a notch. This is something I would definitely want to drink on its own, even with that, you know, obviously it's a higher proof point. But this, yeah, I think that's what it is. It's a great cocktail bourbon. I mean, I just think Green River, it's smart. It's a smart thing to do because now you get your bottles on the backs of bars. It's a 1 liter bottle for under $30. You get the whiskey out there. People can buy it. If they don't, they get sick of Jim Beam, sick of Jim Beam White Label. They get sick of Woodford Reserve. They could go to this and just do something a little bit different with it. It's a better value. Again, Green River, if anything, has been killing it with value-based whiskeys this year. That Green River Full Proof is probably going to be a top 5 bottle for me this year, just based on the price alone and how good it is. So I just think there's a lot of just really great things happening on a Green River. I just think, again, like this may not excite the bourbon enthusiast because we probably wouldn't drink this straight. But if you look at what the move does holistically for Green River as a whole, I think it really does kind of just, again, it just gets their name out there more. It's a smart move, to be honest. So, like, it's so much caramel apple. That'd be really good in an old fashioned, just saying. Or even like just like a bourbon smash, like a lemon blueberry bourbon smash. That would be friggin' killer. Okay. I'm gonna try some cocktails with that. I think it'll probably be pretty good. All right, what else we got here? Oh yeah, let me go to my Still Austin. So this is a special release from Still Austin, and is that a tattoo? I could tattoo this on me. So Still Austin, speaking of Nancy Fraley, they've been putting out some unique releases, distillery-only releases. They did a port finish that people went pretty crazy for. This is their Madeira cask finish, and this is a rye whiskey. So this is not a bourbon. This is a rye whiskey. And again, I think rye whiskeys finish better with, certain finishes rather than bourbon does. But yeah, this is just get Early Times. Isn't that cheaper and higher proof? Says Early Times. Yeah, but is it a liter? William Wiley? The port finish one is amazing. Oh man, this smells crazy. I hate that Green River has to make shirty whiskey. I order to expand their brand. I mean, Michael, I'm not really sure how much more you want them to expand it. They made their bourbon. They have a wheated bourbon. They have a rye, all like $35. Then they started doing the cask strength picks. Then they came out with a full proof. Now they're coming out with a budget mixer, and we're probably going to see a cask strength rye down the line too. So that would be 7 products coming out of Green River. I mean, that's pretty good for a younger. I'm not going to say it's a younger startup, but for a brand that's recently kind of broken into the whole whiskey sphere, and they haven't been distilling their own stuff for that long, that's pretty impressive. Early Times Bottle and Bond is a 1 liter. Yeah, I could see Early Times being a nice mixer. Well, yeah, Early Times would be a really good mixer as well. Obviously, so is the Old Forester 100 proof signature. But I don't know. Again, I just think Green River, again, just getting their bottle on the backs of bars. I'm not saying, for us whiskey enthusiasts, we probably want something higher proof, and I get that part. But when you're out at a bar, not everybody drinks, 135 proof stuff like we do. So wow, that is super rich. I mean, look how dark this whiskey is. This is like dark fruit raisins for days. My goodness. I mean, honestly, you could get Early Times, but I don't know. You guys tell me in the chat too. Do you feel like Early Times is kind of like the Bottle and Bond since the whole changeover from Old Forester to Barton? it tastes different to me. I don't know. Just not, I don't know. It's like missing something to me. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy. You guys tell me, because I don't hear as much people talking about that bottle like they used to. Before the changeover happened, everybody talked about how great Early Times Bottle and Bond was. The best value. It's one of the greatest budget bottles. I don't hear shit about it anymore. Like, everyone just stopped talking about it. Is it because it became more available, or is it because something happened to it when the changeover happened? What, I mean, you guys tell me. Tim Taylor says, it's definitely not as good. I think Early Times Bottle is one of the most overhyped bottles I've tasted. Early Times is fine. Jason, most people who drink at a bar, including a lot of the owners, don't do barrel proof. Exactly, Richie. Green River, is it nationally distributed? Haven't seen. Oh, is that what you're talking about? You want it more nationally distributed? Yeah, Michael Pierce, just give it time, man. Distribution is a pain in the ass, and it takes time. Like, you can't just be like, I'm going to go in every state. Every state is different. Every state, there's different rules, there's different regulations, there's different types of quantities you have to give to that state. It's not just a plug and play situation. You have to manage that state by state, and it's a pain in the ass. Some people don't come to Ohio because Ohio it's a state-controlled liquor agency, and it could be tough to deal with from a distribution standpoint. And there are other states like that. So as much as I agree with you, like, Green River should be everywhere, but unfortunately, just stuff like that takes time. Sean, our friend from Michigan, has some strong feelings about this Early Times thing. So what's his take then, Kyle? There's a rumor that the juice hasn't changed yet, and that they are using the last of the Barton juice. They have only changed the bottle. Yeah, I mean, I've heard multiple different things, but something to me tastes different about it. That's all I could go is off of flavor profile, because I have compared the old one to the new one with the different DSPs on it, and there's a difference to me. Now, I don't know if it's that, again, if we're getting into like a batching issue, which, whatever, who knows, but I don't know. Bought two bottles recently. Early Times is spice in the palate with a chocolate candy bar note as well. For $26 a liter to get any type of complexity in the palate like that is a great value. I would agree with that. I still think it has some great flavors. Yeah. Kyle Taylor says, I believe Sean loves the old one and hates the new one. Yeah, I don't know, man. Who knows? Yeah, I mean, is it an aging thing? Is it like... who knows, man? I still do enjoy the ET Bottle and Bond lately. Too many new choices, and these YouTubers doing barrel picks can hardly keep up. Yeah, sorry, Wayne. Man, that's crazy. This is like, so we were talking about like old fashions earlier. This is like somebody took an old fashioned and just like melted it down somehow, and it's like an old fashioned concentrate in a rye old fashioned. It's an old fashioned made with rye whiskey that's been just completely melted down. So you get all like the charred orange, you get chocolate, you get, oh my gosh, like that, like a cherry, but it's like a dark Luxardo cherry syrup that's kind of mixed in there. But there's also like some like rich raisin notes in here. This thing is delicious. Look how dark it is, though. Like you can't see me through that. You can't see me. Little John Cena reference. No. This thing is crazy good. Damn. Silent Todd, how do you get all these bottles being in Ohio? I travel a lot, and I have great friends in what's the saying? I got friends in low places and high places and all the places in between. I think this bottle was 80 something. So yeah, this is an absolute banger from Still Austin. Yeah, this is a temporary tattoo. So there's a little, I don't know if you guys can see that. So here on the tag, they got a little temporary tattoo that you can attach, and you could use that I'm going to put that right on my shoulder blade. There you go. People would be like, what the hell is that? Like, I don't know. It's whiskey. There you go. Friends in low places. Yeah, motor oil. Early times variants. Maybe it's the water. I wonder how much of a difference the water makes. I mean, I don't think it's the water either. I mean, it could be. Who knows? All you need for good bottles in Ohio is one friend that manages an OHLQ. Says Dylan S. Yeah, I wish it was that easy, man. I do picks with OHLQ, and I mean, I don't even really get like the last batch of Russell's Reserve picks that just dropped in Ohio. Like I helped pick those, and I got none of them. None of them I was able to get. Zero, zilch, nada. So, but this weekend, I think, or soon, I believe OHLQ is dropping the High Bank single barrel picks. I helped pick those too. So some of those are really good, but you really want to go after those double oaks if you're in Ohio. Those are absolutely stellar. So when those drop, go after the double. Those are the ones that were really impressive. So tramp stamp of a snake. Jason, put the tattoo on your forehead. People who think there are differences in micro batches bottled on different days with ECBP, I'd expect early times to remain the same at a different distillery. Blenders, bottlers make me laugh. This is Don Prince. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I don't think early times. I don't know. I just think a lot of changes happen when you go from one to the other. It's the same whiskey and the same barrels, but when it's being filled through the different lines, maybe different water gets involved. I don't know. Maybe something probably changes there. Laser code, drink. Okay. Still Austin does it again. That is so good. Oh my God. This is that's like a rye of the year contender. That's like a top 5 rye for me right there this year. That is stupid. Stupid good. It's like liquid candy, man. And then it's got like the spice in the back end, letting you know it's still a rye whiskey. That thing is crazy. Wow. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just like keep taking it in. Speaking of finished ryes, if anybody is near New Riff this weekend, New Riff is dropping their 8-year sherry finished malted rye whiskey this weekend. Remember the rye that won Best Rye of the Year for me like 2 or 3 years ago? They are releasing it this Saturday. So if you're near New Riff this Saturday, go and get one immediately. Your friendly neighborhood Mash and Drum is telling you. So if none of you are on the mailing list or somehow New Riff's mailing list gets caught in the in your spam filter, they dropped the email today. Sherry finished 8-year malted rye is dropping at New Riff this Saturday. Go get it. Isn't it? I thought it was an 8-year, or is it a 6-year? I'm sorry. Let me get the bottle. Was it a 6-year? Or is it non-age stated? Maybe it's non-age stated. Maybe I got the 8-year confused in there. Does it say what it is? At least 6 years. So it says at least 6 years at least on this one. So I don't know if because they waited to spin like a couple years since they released this. So does that mean we're gonna get an older one this year? I don't know. But this is the bottle you want right here. This is what you want. This shit is unbelievably good. This is my rye of the year a couple years ago. This is what you got to get. So, let's see. Does it say? Doesn't say how long it was in the cask. But I mean, if I just pour some here, guys, you will see how dark it is. I mean, I would imagine there's some. Oh my God! How did I not do this comparison? I'm gonna have a makeshift compare here real quick. Oh my God! The Madeira. All right, look at the color on these two. So this is that's the new riff, and that's the Madeira from Still Austin. The new label says 6 year on the front. Okay, cool. There you go. The sherry is extremely prevalent on the new riff. It's very dark. Again, a lot of raisin, chocolate, rye spice. A little bit of that sulfur note comes through, but not too bad. I don't know. That's Still Austin. I might like even better. Oh, wow. Holy crap. That's so good. Guys, if you have a chance to find or get that Still Austin, get it immediately. How much is that new riff going to cost me? I think I'll check the email because I love you guys. So let's see. $67.99, and it comes in at 111.5 proof. 111.5 proof, $67.99. That is the going rate. Is that the same proof as this one? No, actually, it's a little lower. This is 112.7. That one said 111.6, so it's a little lower. But I don't know if, all the batches, all that stuff. So am I the only person that gets a rubber sulfur note on almost anything finished in sherry? Whiskey Shop, I do get that sometimes. Actually, speaking of River Roots, the one River Roots single barrel that I've had that had a heavy port finish on it, man, I got so much sulfur on it. It was too much. I couldn't keep going with it. So, yeah, the prices are really good, though. I haven't heard anything on the Calumet 17, dude. I am waiting for it. I can't wait to try that bottle. Try to grab one of those. I have a friend in Covington. I might need to make a phone call. Yeah. See how it is. But yeah, I love that rye whiskey a couple years ago when it came out. So, all right, I think I have I think I have time to go through one more quick whiskey here before we get into the blind tasting and get into a little bit of our discussion that I want to get into, and that is the new Barrell Bourbon number 36. I'll probably do a full review on this one. I've heard some really good things, really good reviews on this. So I figure I'll just taste it with you guys here quickly. So as you guys may or may not know, this is basically, Barrell Bourbon 36. They are still using, so the mash bill after the blend, 79% corn, 16% rye, 5% malted barley. It utilizes a 9-year Kentucky bourbon, 7.5, 8, and 10-year bourbon from Indiana, and an 8 and 15-year Tennessee bourbon. So you know where that Tennessee bourbon's from. But the question always is how much of that Tennessee bourbon can you taste or smell? So, and thank you for the first super chat of the night, Mr. Jeff Winbush. I appreciate the love. Thank you so much. Jason, that copper and cask is so dark. I'm telling you, this pick, when people get their hands on this pick, I still have the glass here, like hanging out. It is so good. So, wow, that is that is brown sugar galore in that bottle. Again, I think I'm getting more like that caramel apple notes coming back. There's some dark fruit there, but I don't think it's cherry. I actually think it's a little bit darker. I don't know. Cherry is always kind of like my guideline. If I get cherry, is it bright cherry? Is it dark cherry? And then I kind of work my way from there. Does it get into more of a blackberry? Is it getting more into a grapey note? It's actually a really nice blend. There's some great rye spice to it, good characteristic that balances out all the sweet. Again, it's just a beautifully crafted blend by Barrell Craft Spirits. You know, these are, I mean, 9, 7.5, 8, 10, and then 8 and 15. And you're looking at $100 roughly for a bottle of this. And it's interesting, just people don't want to spend the money on these anymore, I don't think. And I don't know if it's necessarily the price anymore or is because it's still George Dickel that's blended in these. But this is a delicious blend. I have seen a few reviews of people praising this specific batch. I have to agree with them. It's really, is it mind-blowing? No. But is it a really solid blend? Absolutely. There's a flavor in here that is, I don't know what that is. It's a little bit drying on the palate. It's not a nuttiness. Need one more sip of that. It's almost floral. It's like a floral component that it has. It's not. It's definitely not marzipan. Yeah, it's almost like a floral component that I'm tasting here to go along with those like deep rich vanillas, the brown sugar. The rye spice makes this. If it didn't have that spice and it was just kind of flat, I don't know. I don't know if I would say go run out and buy this one, but this is definitely, I think it's a try before you buy because I really feel like there are people that would really like this blend. But yeah, it's a solid barrel bourbon batch, to be honest. To me, if it's $100 plus solid, not good enough. Yeah, I see what you're saying, William. So yeah, okay. Well, I mean, honestly, that kind of leads us into tonight's discussion. So before we get into that, I want to grab my copper and cask again because that shit was delicious. Brian Stroof, how would you rate your Woodinville Maverick 2 pick? Honestly, it's been a while since I've had that pick, but I remember when we tasted it, we loved it. But people have kind of gone away from Woodinville as well because the whiskey isn't really getting older in some of those picks, and the price has kind of either stayed the same or gone up. So I think that's what people has been keeping Woodinville a little bit at arm's length. So I don't know, but when we tasted, I love that pick. I thought it was really fruit forward. It was really good for Woodinville. Obviously, if we picked it at the time, probably loved it. So, all right. So let's get into a little bit of the discussion. But before we do that, I'm going to need to blow my nose a little bit, and you guys don't need to hear that. So, so real quick, if you need to, you can just watch me fall on my ass. I fell. All right, I feel better. And we're back. Okay. Let's see. Anyone have the Augustus 10 year? No, I've had the Route 8, but I don't think does that make it 8 years? I can't remember. Woodinville varies so much. I've had a few that had this plasticky chemical note that was really difficult. Those without that note are killer. Totally agree, Jason. And the ones that had that note are the ones we kind of shied away from. But honestly, we'll probably never pick a Woodinville again because the picks that we did from like 3 years ago, one of them is still available on keg and bottle, to be honest. So yeah. All right. So real quick, guys. So Breaking Bourbon released this article, and honestly, I'll pull it up here because I think it's please excuse the big fireball ad that's showing right now. Oh, actually, is it? I think it's this. Hold on a second. That is the wrong tab. It is this one. There we go. So here's the author, Eric Hasman, down on the bottom of the page here. But he writes a really interesting article, which I think this is an opinion piece. It's not meant to, stir anything up or to, I guess, sway you one way or the other, however you feel about this, but it's strictly an opinion piece. And I thought it was a really interesting conversation. This also kind of got, this kind of filtered down into the last episode of Bourbon Pursuit. So Ryan and Kenny were talking about it with Fred Minnick, and they had. I'm sorry, going a little fast. They had Eric on the channel as well, kind of going through it. But it basically kind of says that right here, bourbon is beginning to settle into a been there, done that period. Since the bourbon boom started about a decade ago, producers have been looking for ways to stand out from the pack. Constant innovation and creative gimmicks can only last so long, no matter the industry. As bourbon consumers finally come down off this high, the question arises, what direction will bourbon move to drive consumers to continually stay invested in it? So we get into finishes, single barrels, double oak bourbon, wine, wood, spirit finishes, and so on. This is a good point. Every time a company announces their new finished bourbon, I ask myself the question, how is this release any different from the 100 of others that came before it? Is their brand strong enough to get people to care about their yet another insert finishing style here? And then we get to the plateau of the finishing style. And plus, you kind of factor in prices. A lot of the finished bourbons are $150 and plus in most cases. So if outside finishing and other flavor agents resulted in the previous creative driving force of bourbon products, then the opposite of that would be good old-fashioned straight whiskey making. I'm not talking about an across-the-board concentration of identical flavor profiles in the industry, but instead producers offering one-of-a-kind flavor profiles simply based on their own unique distilling prowess and regional distinctiveness. So in short terms, basically going to more of the craft area. So this is what he cites down here. 291, Balcones, Chattanooga, Corbin Cash, Fry Ranch, Garrison Brothers, Hill Rock, Dragon's Milk, Tomfoolery, Leopold. A lot of these distillers that are offering something different to the consumer, using different types of distilling methods, different types of grains, different types of old school methods as well, equipment for use, different types of woods, and so on and so forth. So that's why I kind of wanted to talk about this a little bit tonight, because it got me really thinking, what is that next wave in bourbon? What is the next big thing? Have we seen the next big thing? I see it as kind of like cell phones these days. We don't really see anything innovative from cell phones anymore. It used to be the biggest jump that we've had this, ever was the iPhone, the release of the iPhone. Everything became an iPhone. Now your phone is a computer in your hand. But now every single year, it's a slight incremental bump in your phone, whether it just be, okay, we're going to make a better camera. We're going to make your processor a little bit faster. We're going to make you a little bit of a better screen, maybe make your software faster. But overall, after you use it for a little bit, it's going to be pretty much the same experience. Nothing really groundbreaking. So are we there with whiskey yet? Have we seen the groundbreaking nature in whiskey? Have we hit to a point where are we overdone with finishes? Are there more finishes to be had? For me, I don't think we're done with finishes. Oh shit. I just totally spilled that on me. Luckily it wasn't that much. This is what happens when you're Italian and you move your arms too much. I'm going to pour a little. Thankfully, that wasn't a lot. But I got bourbon on my pants. I'm going to clip that. That's bad. Okay. It's just like Glock. Solid dirty. Yeah, sorry, guys. What bourbon needs is more butterfly colors. No, please don't. Party foul, new clip. Yeah, I totally just party fouled myself. Cheers, guys. Right when I was getting hot into my discussion, that happens. All right, let me just clean up a little bit here. This is why I have a towel here, guys, because this has happened before. You just spill. This is the beauty of going live. You see it right as it's happening. Yeah, these shorts are going to go in the wash immediately. I have copper and cask. It's copper and crotch. Oh my God. All right. Everybody steer clear. This is the zone of no return. I'm going to put this over here. Okay. Jason, when is the exact date of the Mash and Journey gathering? It is the last weekend in September. The 27th, Friday the 27th is the main event at Bardstown Bourbon Company. And the 28th is the attack on literally the city of Bardstown. All of us will. But we have some things planned in Bardstown as well. So, okay. Let's start this again. Where was I? Rewind. Let's go back. Finishes. I don't think we're done with finishes yet. I think finishes, we're still going to, I still think that people are going to be looking for the next big finish. And whether that's Tokai, whether it's people still doing honey, whether it's these really weird, I mean, look at, like, I hate to bring up Amburana, but Amburana literally came out of nowhere. Nobody had heard of that wood species. Nobody knew what the hell it was until Starlight just amazingly threw a cigar batch label on it. Amburana, everybody was like, what is that? People started talking it up, got really interested, and then it took off. Then everybody was doing Amburana. I think this year we've seen a lot of honey cask finishes. Honey is kind of the new thing. Well, not really a new thing. I mean, Bell Mead from Greenbrier, they were doing that years ago. They were the only one in the game doing that. But now a lot of people are doing different honey finishes. Honey French oak, honey Amburana combinations now with Rio and Penelope and what they're doing. Even the Bourbon Junkies with their release. Is it Night Stalker that does that combination, I think, maybe? But there's a lot of, there's a lot of these different finishes out there. But what's the next finish? I think people are still looking for those different finishes, and they're going to keep doing it as long as people keep staying interested in some of these different flavor profiles. They're always looking for different. Now, here's the flip side of that. I think also the brands that he cites, Chattanooga, 291, Leopold, they've been around. They've been around for a little while. It's not like that they're like something new. I do think that they're different. They're not the status quo, what we get from a Kentucky bourbon. But I don't think it's been enough to sway people along on that direction to make it a trend either. Now, I think the one caveat to that is Corbin Cash. Corbin Cash is one of those brands that I discovered last year that completely blew me away. Now, not only because it's delicious, but the proof points are high. The quality of the whiskey is amazing. It's dark, it's rich, it's sweet, and I think that's what people like. Unfortunately, Corbin Cash just isn't universally available everywhere. So what is it going to be? What's it going to take for the next bourbon trend to happen? What does that look like? Is it a fallback to a traditional type of bourbon? Just like I said with the not Corbin Cash, but Copper and Cask. Just that we chose this barrel because there was nothing really done to it. It was just a good, delicious barrel of bourbon. There was no finish on it, no double oaking, nothing. Just a great barrel of bourbon, and that's what we liked. Does it go back to that type of profile now that people get really interested in and really excited for? Or are people just still looking for the finishes? Or does it not matter? Like, it's hard to predict what the next thing is going to be. For me, my prediction, I think that people are going to get more into wood species. Now, Amburana was one of them, and I like to go with kind of the hot trend. So Amburana became a hot trend. I think it's kind of dying off now. People still love it, but for me, I'm just like over it. I don't know about you guys. But I will say that the next big thing that happens, I think, is either going to come from like a genius master distiller, or it's going to come from some weird wood species that nobody's ever heard of. That'll be the next big thing, because finishes are finishes. Everyone's doing different finishes. Everyone's double oaking now. Even if they don't tell you, like National Barrel Company, some of their picks are unbelievable, but they don't really tell you that stuff is double oaked. At least most of the stuff, they don't tell you it's double oak. They just rebarrel it in a Kelvin Cooperage barrel, and it does amazing things to the whiskey, and then it's sold, even though it's really good whiskey. But what does that look like, going down the line? I don't know. You guys in the chat, you tell me what you think. Let me kind of back up here and see what you guys are saying here. The next Jason C event, bourbon on my pants. Yep, that'll do. Yep. The good tried and true stuff will remain. I totally agree with that. I think that, to me, I think people want that more now. They don't want more trendy bourbons and finishes, together. They just want just really good, delicious bourbon that's affordable and findable. I think that's where we're at. I think if that trend could start, that would be, a good trend. Many in Italian have knocked a glass over, and I hear you. Jason, I told you that. Okay, I went back pretty far. Copper and crotch tasty. Here come the fruit flies. Keeping it real, dude. Jason is inviting us to the pants party. Oh my God. Okay. Dude, Richie Z, if you show up to this event on the 27th, I will literally, I'm going to spill more bourbon on my pants. It's going to get messy. If you arrive and show up, I will be so happy, dude, to see you. Seriously, that would be amazing if you make that work. It's amazing that Russell Reserve 15 had a lower MSRP than Wild Turkey Master Cube Triumph, but 50% more age than the Triumph. Whiskey Shop, welcome to my conundrum when it comes to Wild Turkey pricing. I don't get it. I don't understand how that happens, but that's where we're at with Wild Turkey right now. Welcome to the Mash and Drunk Life. That's the thing. I'm not drunk. I just spill things because of my hands. I think Barrel King is leading the way to the next wave. I've been saying that, Mary Beth, for a little while. People that have kind of latched on to groups. I think Bourbon Junkies are also doing a great job of this, building a brand off of a community. I think that really is kind of the next trend, or it's been trending. I don't think enough people are doing that. I think we're going to see some of the big distillers start to make a little bit more of an exclusive group type of thing that people can be a part of. Four Roses, to some extent does it. And, I could see others doing that as well. Something a little bit more exclusive where you join this group, you get access to certain bottles that nobody else gets. Blending. We've talked about blending being the next era, being the next wave. Not just single barrel picks anymore. People want something even more custom, even more different. So those could be different avenues where those next eras or the next trends go. But I honestly think we're just seeing the beginnings of that. Exotic woods that most of us have never heard of. Yeah, Steven, I really think this is where it's going to go. For me, yeah, blends I think are great. I think the community type of, as we just mentioned, like a Barrel King, like a Bourbon Junkies type thing, even what, Four Roses does a little bit. But again, I think we're in the beginning stages of it. But I'm talking about like a mass type of trend that's going to, ripple through everything. I think different types of wood species, and if you're a movement to go from char 4 or char 3 barrels to char 1. Char 1 barrels have been getting a lot of love lately for the sweetness that it imparts. It's less invasive to the whiskey in the barrel. Yeah, the charcoal filtering does some of that to it, but a char 1 is almost like kind of a toast where it just imparts a lot of sweetness into the whiskey without overdoing it. And we're already seeing some different distillers use char 1. If you look at what before Spirits of French Lick, I mean, he was using char 1 for a little bit before he left to go do his own thing. And I think, man, that's going to be some incredible whiskey. But Buzzard's Roost is using char 1, so I think that could be maybe a possible trend that we'll see. Some of the char 1, char 2 type aspects to whiskey, I think, as well. I know I'm like jumping all over the place, but like all these ideas are coming into my head. Spirit Walker, Night Stalker, Spirit Walker. Okay. Gimmicks get people into bourbon. Age statements keep them long term. Yeah, but even for me, like age statements, like look at Jim Beam. Jim Beam has this thing now where like everything they put out has a crazy age statement in it. But I still don't feel like people are running out to buy Jim Beam. Like, is it? But when Heaven Hill drops like an 18-year age stated something, people run and people jump. Is now does it get to because like in a world where we want more age statements, is there too many age statements now being released by Jim Beam? It's like, oh, another 14-year, 10-year. I don't know. It's like maybe it just depends on who it is. Let's see. Oh, bacon. Yeah, we should have a bacon finish bourbon at some point. Yeah. Jason, how has the Smokeout Hill opened up? It's actually opened up pretty good. It's gotten a little bit sweeter. I think that blue corn is really coming through, but it's also gotten a little bit more youthful on the palate as well. So, yeah. What happened to the glazed donut finish you were going to work on with Jackie Zykin? Well, she went to Hidden Barn, and that went out the barn. I don't know how to say that. I really like 291 single barrels. I'm not sure if it's distribution or not. Honey finishing is a mood pour for sure. Definitely not something to drink daily. If you drank Cochacha, then you were aware of Amburana wood. Okay, good point, Eric. Pecan finish would be interesting, says Keith. Mizunara, maybe a new grain. I mean, we've seen grain, experimentation, but I still don't feel like new grains move the needle enough. Unless it has like a Buffalo Trace label on it, then people go crazy, like it's the greatest thing ever. But when other people do it, it's like, okay, it's okay. I'll try that later. I don't need to get that right now. It's just, I don't know. It's one of those things. Dancing go to the Colombian oak finish. Yes, we've seen Spanish oak finish being used. I would actually like to see Spanish oak being used a little bit more. Boone County released a chicory finish bourbon. Sounds like a risky buy. That sounds risky. More distilleries, Heaven Hill especially, I need to experiment with lower entry proofs. Yeah, that could be a thing. The thing about the next big thing is everyone's interest in this hobby is fickle. So as soon as it drops, you want something else. We're voracious. That's actually a good point, Kenneth. Never tried the M&J Corbin Cash. The shell from Merced Rye blew me away in a negative way. Smells like pure toluene. I could see that off the Merced Rye, especially that lower proof one or the shelfer. I could see where you're getting that. It does have a little bit of that quality for sure, but we haven't had that on the single barrel picks, to be honest. Next trend in bourbon is just buying Armagnac. Yeah, I mean, again, hot take, decanters will return. I begged for decanters to return. I think it should return. Ever tried Tappers? Very interesting as an old-fashioned mixer. First had at Ramsey Restaurant. I don't think I've had Tappers. I got to look out for that, Matt. Thanks for the super chat, man. Looking for older age products from younger distilleries more than new finishes. Okay. I could see where people are at with that. Honestly, what I want 90% of the time is good bourbon at a good age, at a good proof with no other nonsense. This is kind of where I'm at now, and I know it's hard because we do barrel picks with a lot of other shit done to it, but this is what is available. But that's why I love this bottle so much, because it's kind of just unadulterated, just really good whiskey. But yeah, I get you. I'm going to go with the trend is going to be a decrease in demand on increase in supply, causing higher age releases for lower prices. Not in the near future, but not too distant future. So an interesting take that I got from my buddy Ethan, he said that a lot of his thought was maybe the distillers that are releasing these high age statements, it's kind of a ploy to start cutting out some of the or start putting pressure on a lot of the craft distillers that are putting out younger stuff that's either finished or blended or whatever you want to call it, and kind of like weed out the outliers so they could start, I don't know, maybe taking over a little bit more than they already do. I'm trying to figure out how he worded it, but it was an interesting take. I think the ones that have been making good whiskey will continue. Oat whiskey finished in Bolivian oak and aged in Idaho. That sounds awful. I'm tired of $150 bottles of bourbon, no matter how good it is. So this is where I'm at. I don't think it matters what's in the bottle. People just want good whiskey at a good price. And I think more than anything, the prices has been what has taken away a little bit from people's love of bourbon. People, not maybe buying as much as they used to because the prices are insane. The prices are really high. But again, on the flip side, it's not cheap to source whiskey, put it in your bottle, and label it. There's a cost to everything. I'm going through this now, trying to figure out like what my label is going to be, what it's going to look like. And as much as I want to keep the price as low as I can, there's a certain aspect of business where you have to make a little money on it. So there's always that ebb and flow of it. So if you don't want to, but again, this gets back into like the whole community part of it. Like if I come out with a brand, I would hope my community of followers that trust my palate would buy it and enjoy it. But if you're not part of that community, you probably won't want to buy it because you'd probably just rather buy something on the shelf. It's a tough type of thing to navigate. But for me, honestly, I think it's going to be wood species. I think that's what we'll keep seeing innovation. And I think, it's going to take some crazy master distiller. Maybe Alan Bishop does do it. Maybe he does something crazy and, comes up with some crazy new mash bill that people latch onto. And it's like the greatest thing since sliced bread. I don't know what it becomes. But I think prices need to come down and just good straight bourbon needs to come back. Stop masking everything with a big finish on it. Listen, even though some finishes can be really, really good, but it can't be the primary thing you do. I think people are just getting over it because last thing here, because look at prime examples, Midwinter's Night's Dram, right? For years, that was the one rye whiskey, the only one in the game with that port finish on it that people went nuts for. But it lost that. It lost that aura around it because a little bit, for the most part, I think it lost a little bit of that because so many other different brands came out with their own port finished whiskey, own port finished rye whiskey. That was delicious. Most likely a better value than the Midwinter's Night's Dram was. And sometimes maybe even a better product. So you can't just come out with a finish, say, hey, look, we got this, we got this. Not only do you have to do it, but you have to do it better than everyone else is doing it. And unfortunately, there just isn't enough of that out there. If you find the person that's doing it better than everyone else, then stock up on it because who knows when it's going to go away. All right, let me catch up here. The chat. Caleb Pitts, headed to Jack Daniels for the first time soon. Any good food bar Rex or the surrounding area? Drinking a Now Creek 9-year store pick. Cheers, says Caleb Pitts. Caleb, Jack Daniels is in the middle of nowhere. Lynchburg, Tennessee is a very, very small little town. But if you can, I would eat at Mary Bobo's if you could get in. Yeah, that place is delicious. So try to eat at Mary Bobo's if you can. A good donut would be, I could go for a donut now to go with the bourbon on my pants. Store picks will continue to rise in popularity. It's the new unicorn. Yes, but I do think there's a little bit of an overflux of bourbon picks for sure. And the problem is too with barrel picks that there's so many out there that quality control on those picks has become an issue. People walk into Total Wine. I mean, listen, when you're like Total Wine or even here in Ohio, when you're buying so many barrels for so many locations, it becomes problematic. Not every barrel is going to be good. It can't be because you're picking barrels. You're picking so many at one time that most of them are going to be average with probably 2 or 3 real hitters in there. And I think that waters down all the other great barrel picks that could be out there because the people that only get like 1, 2, 3 barrels per year and they're trying to pick the creme de la creme, those are the ones that are getting the really good barrels. But the big conglomerates that are getting 15 to 20 barrels at a time kind of water down the entire process because, let's face it, they're just buying hundreds of barrels at a time. And again, it's just, you're not going to get as many good quality barrels. All right, let me... Total Wine doesn't pick their barrels, I don't believe. Exactly, they just get sent barrels. Midwinter's Night's Dram also lost lunch because they produced a ton of it, which was a good thing for people who hate allocations. True. Welcome to market saturation. First, yeah, folks. Yep. Second, honey, second, honey boo boos. Small store picks. What about craft ingredients? HH corns and hard truth craft malts can produce unique products. I get it, and that like stuff like that gets me excited, but I don't think it gets the average bourbon drinker excited. So again, it has to be the next thing that drives the mass audience to the category, and it's hard to do. It's almost like, man, what else can you do besides just throw a finish on a bourbon? It's tough. I mean, there's been just so much whiskey in the last 4 to 5 to 6 years that has just flooded the market, and now we're starting to get more age statements. So I don't know, man. Jason, you feel like in 10 years, many distilleries will combine or sell out to bigger companies due to the issues we're talking about now, just ingredient, product, consumer? Yeah, absolutely, CJ. I think we're going to see a lot more consolidation the next few years of craft brands getting swallowed up by bigger brands because they can't keep up. Consumer fickleness, as you added. It's going to be a rough go, I think, for the next few years for some of those smaller distillers. It's going to take more than just throwing something in a good finish. If you're going to do something in a finish, you have to do it better than everyone else. And I'm just not sure that everybody has that capability. It's called FOMO. Produce great whiskey, folks will flock. I'd love to see more organic bourbon and rye. How about strong shelf products that people keep buying? Repeated and old school brand building. Yeah, Elixir Spirits, I could get on board with that. I think, again, it goes back to my point where you have like people like Barrel King that are connecting with a specific audience to buy something unique. I think the bigger distilleries can do that more instead of just pumping out whiskey that's allocated at a high price with a high age statement on it. I think connection to the consumer is what's needed even more. You get it when you go to the whiskey trail, but how does that connection live beyond the whiskey trail? That's the key. That's the key. It can't just be emails. There's got to be another layer to it. I mean, listen, I'm in marketing, and it's all about storytelling and connecting to your customer. I don't think distillers have figured out, at least the big ones, the big ones, how to connect with their audience outside of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail and just releasing high age stated bottles with a high price point that people see as special with some story wrapped around it. I think people are just over it. They're just getting sick of it. Connect me to your brand in a different way that makes me want to keep drinking your whiskey, both limited and both on the shelf stuff. The brands that do that, at least the big brands that do that, I think can do something special for the consumer. But right now, there's just not enough of them happening. But that's why I think, what the Junkies are doing, what Barrel King is doing, what a couple of others are doing, connecting with that audience first and making that connection so you have an invested interest to buy in that whiskey. That's the key. So I think that's where it should go. Yeah. You mean a UV ink version of the John Fitzgerald story and the label doesn't resonate? Jason, I didn't want to bring it up, but you just have to say it. Can always count on you, man. Average consumer wants candy sweet. That's ultimately what drives the BT hype crazy. Yeah, I mean, that's part of it too, is flavor profile. The sweeter, the better, it seems. The American palate loves candy. They love sweet. They love sugar. The sweeter, the better. And I think that could drive some of it as well. I don't care about your story. I care what the whiskey tastes like, says Mr. Great Shot. Yeah. But there's something to be said though for a connection, because if you connect to a consumer, you're going to want to taste their whiskey, good or bad. So the candy sweet people won't buy much bourbon. They'll buy RTDs and flavored stuff. Yeah. So this is my call to action for you guys in the comments below. Kind of, write down what you think the next, I know we all want to say like what we think should happen, but I really want to hear like what your next trend thing you think will be or should be. So write that down in the comments of this video. I'll go through them. I'll pull some out and I'll probably do a video on it. So this is your chance to be involved in the one of the next videos I make. I think it'll be a really cool discussion video. Don't do it now, but definitely when you sign off later, think about it. Think about what that next era could be or what you would like to see it become, or if you can really read the tea leaves and see what's happening now. And just leave it down in the comments below. I would love to kind of get a live feed of what you guys think, and yeah, I'll do a video on it. So thank you for doing that, guys, and thanks for listening to me ramble on here. So with that, let's get into our epic blind tasting. It's time. Oh yeah, oh yeah. Here we go. Are these the marked ones? Yes, they are. All right, these are marked. That's marked. That's marked. And listen, if your trend is just to like make bottles cheaper, you can write that too. It doesn't matter to me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, I think that's all there is. Are you looking forward to the 2 new mash bills from Four Roses? Absolutely, Whiskey Shop. Very, very. 2XO has brought me in via the story of Dixon and Kentucky Owl. I buy everything they release because of my reverence for him. Yeah, I mean, there you go. Some people would say, that's overpriced stuff, but because of that connection you have to Dixon, like that sneakerhead release that's coming out soon, I'm going to buy bottles of that shit because I love sneakers. I love shoes. Did I spill something on my sneakers? Somebody asked me what kicks I'm wearing today. I got some brand new ones on tonight. I'll show you guys here. Did I get any whiskey on them? No. These are the new Jordan 39s. I don't know if you could see the kind of the details on that. Man, these are friggin' white. There we go. So it's got this cool pattern on it. This is probably one of the most comfortable shoes I've put on. Apparently, Michael Jordan had a lot to do with the design of these. There's a little, I don't know if you can see under the tongue there, there's a photo of Michael Jordan in there. These are super, super comfortable. So I grabbed these last week when I was in Chicago. So, yep. Okay. Let me put that back on. I missed out on the cement Jordan 4s, says Joey B. Joey B, those are releasing again next year, so you have a shot at getting them. All right, guys, so let's go through this blind real quick. Again, when it comes to what is in this blind tasting, we have Russell's 15, Heaven Hill 17, Michter's 10-year from last year, which is actually a 14-year-old product, Four Roses 135th, Lux Row, the Lux Row 12-year double oaked, which is actually not double oaked, double barreled, which is actually a 14-year product, 2 14-year barrels that have been blended, and Pappy 15. That's right. All right, I got my notes here. Let's see what we get here. Those are sick kicks. I didn't know that MJ patterned his sneakers off of Skechers. This James Lay. Oh, man. Pappy going to get spanked? Yeah, we'll see. Next trend will be Booker's getting back on track. That would be nice. Next trend, just all Booker's rye across the board. Next trend equals full circle back to basics. Just good whiskey at good prices. Beating a dead horse here, says Darren Clary. I mean, that's where I would like to see it go. But I don't know if that's going to be the case, man. So we'll see. We'll figure that out as it comes along. Nice flex on this blind, Jason. The Pappy 15 is not mine. I have never owned any Pappy ever. People always ask me, how come you never do review? How come you've never done a review on a Pappy Van Winkle? I don't own any. I do not own. I have never owned an Old Rip. I've never owned a Lot B, and I've never owned a 15, 20, or 23-year-old Pappy. Never. I've never won one in the lottery. I've never found one at a decent price that I was willing to pay for one. So that's why. And I don't care. Like, people show me their bottles of Pappy. It doesn't impress me. Like, I don't care. Like, the only time I'm ever going to buy a Pappy is if I somehow, by some stroke of God, I get one at retail, which is very, very hard to do. The only way I would hit one is probably if I won one in the OHLQ lottery, but I'm like 0 for like 117 and still counting. So there you go. All right, let's go to the first one here. And the first one already is ridiculous. Yeah, I'll take a GTS or a King Kentucky over a Pappy any day. Would I like to own a Pappy, one bottle? Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I would like to own one, but I'm not going to, you know, put my house up on a mortgage to do that. I'm not going to have to refinance my home so I could buy a bottle of Pappy. That ain't happening. At last, Jason and I have something in common with no Pappy on our bourbon journey. Yeah, that's right. No Pappy. Again, guys, next week, it's happening. Nancy Fraley is coming on. Nancy has sent me, personally, a box of very scary samples. I don't know what's in them, but this is an exclusive blind tasting review with Nancy the Nose Fraley happening next week right here on the Mash and Drum, 9 p.m. Same bat time, same bat channel. Trade for my Pappy, says JW. No, I'm not trading for Pappy either. I'm not trading my good bottles. Let's see what this tastes like. The nose on this one is rich old oak, which I feel like this could be anything in this blind. Very sweet. This is a really nice combination of both sweet and rich oak, but sweet oak. Never mind the bourbon. Nancy on guitar and Jason on drums. Who's doing the vocals? Holy shit, that's good. Wow. This has like an old school bourbon feel to it. It is rich. It is dense. I don't think it's particularly high proof, though. Why did I raise an octave in my voice? I don't know. So tomorrow, I'm super excited. I'm heading down to Bardstown Bourbon Company to do a barrel pick for the Bardstown Blitz event at the end of September. So I have a very early day tomorrow. So, yeah, I have a nice 4-hour drive to Bardstown tomorrow morning. I think I have to leave here like at 5:30 in the morning. It's going to be great because I love getting up early in the morning. Shit. Oh, that is so good. This is like Luxardo cherry syrup, molasses, sweet oak, vanilla extract. It is super sweet. Has some really nice dark flavors to it, man. That's so good. Can I reserve the BBC barrel picks as JW? If people want to buy them but can't go to the event, we might be able to buy some extras in case if needed. So we'll see how that goes. Jason, how about Weller Millennium? Local liquor store has one for 7.5. Just ridiculous. That's retail, Robert. He's not even upcharging it. That's the ridiculous thing. That's the retail price for Weller Millennium. It's $7,500, $7,500 for that bottle. I've actually seen people post it on secondary, and they're losing money on it because nobody wants to pay $7,500 for it. So people are buying it like, oh, I'm going to make a killing on it. They put it online. People are not buying that shit for $7,500. Maybe in the beginning they were. I saw one guy had to sell his for $5,000. He just had to get some money back. I don't know. All right, let's go to number 2 here. Will be funny when that one's Pappy. Shit, we'll see. Ooh. This one also has a little bit of an old school, little bit of a funk to it. Man. This shit's going to throw me for a loop here. I have no idea. So that one's not as sweet. It's definitely more savory. A little bit more spice to it. A little bit more spice driven. Total like all spice and what's that? What's the clove? All spice and clove all day long. It's a great box for 7,500. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, before I forget, guys, it's time. I made a new video for this. It is time for the top 5 countdown tonight. I'm going through my blind tasting, guys. It's time for the top 5. Let's pick an option. Here we go. Top 5 tonight. What do we got? Let's get some suggestions in the chat. Let's go top 5 tonight. What's going to be, guys? Haven't done a top 5 in a while. Brooks Reed says, if Pappy 15 wins this blind, you will get one. Shit, we'll see. That's funny. Top 5 muscle cars. I kind of like that. Top 5 vacation spots. Gangster movies. Top 5 moments on YouTube. Top 5 bottles in your flight. Top 5 food memories. Top 5 80s wrestlers. Have I done top 5 80s wrestlers yet? Because that's a good one. Top 5 mullets in history. Top 5 sci-fi movie characters. Man. Top 5 Jays. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Tommy. Top 5 men's watches. Top 5 activities to do in free time. So those aren't bad. Top 5 desserts. I don't even know if, man, is that many desserts that I love that much? I could go top 5. Top 5 Jason's top 5s. I don't think we've done enough of those yet. Top 5 bagels. Whiskey Uncensored. Now we're talking. Top 5 bagels. Oh, my God. Top 5 farts? What? Top 5 80s movies. I feel like we did that already. Top 5 Mets. Oh, gosh. Top 5 fabric softeners. What's after Snuggle and what's after Snuggle? Was there other fabric softeners? Is it Snuggle always number 1? Oh shit. That's funny. All right, let's go with the 80s wrestler one. I kind of like that. Top 5 80s wrestlers. I'm going to need to pull up like a little bit of a like just like a list cuz I'm going to forget people here. This is awesome. All right, top 80s wrestlers. Okay. All right, I think I have enough of a working list here. Man, that is good. Holy shit. But do I like 2 over 1? I think I do. 2 just has a little bit more of a punch to it. Man, 1 I think is actually a little sweeter somehow than 2 is. All right, let's go to 3. All right, so now you guys have to realize, growing up, I think I've told this story before. I had an uncle, my Uncle Joey. Miss you, man. He had Down syndrome, and he, like a lot of Down syndrome kids that I met through him, he absolutely loved wrestling. WWF at the time. And we would watch it. At that time, it was on every Sunday morning. I think like 10 or 11 a.m. Wrestling was on TV. And we, as my Uncle Joey, myself, my grandfather, nothing ever else came on except WWF wrestling. So a lot of my choices will kind of be, you know, with what resonates with me and my Uncle Joey. Who I think about every single day. So, all right, so let's go number 5, because I think I have my top 2. So it's going to be my bottom 3. What are those 3 going to be? Number 5 for me, I think would probably go to. I think I'll probably give number 5 to Jake the Snake. Jake the Snake Roberts, to me, was one of the most terrifying wrestlers on the planet. He was so, like, when he brought that snake out, there was something about it. I know, like, it freaked out my Uncle Joey. He's like, here comes the snake, and he would, like, run out of the room. And I don't know, like, moments like that, just I remember so vividly. So I would probably put him number 5. Oh man, this is like a cherry Jolly Rancher on the nose. Man, absolutely, cherry Jolly Rancher. Some sweet oak. This is the less. So out of the first 3, this is the least amount of oak, but it also somehow the sweetest of the 3. These have a lot of sweet, these 2, but a lot of that oak is balancing out. But you know, number 3 is a lot sweeter for me here. Gosh, the same on the palate. That tastes like my grandma's rainbow cookie. I get like the almond. I get like that almond paste marzipan-y note. I get like cherry raspberry jelly in that rainbow cookie. A little chocolate there. That is super sweet. I'm an 80s baby wrestling fan. Let's go. Thanks, Joey P. All right, number 4 would probably go to. I'm trying to think, because there's a lot of wrestlers here. Like, I loved Ricky Steamboat. Gosh, Hacksaw Jim Duggan was fucking hilarious. Man, who would I give number 4? I love Jimmy Superfly Snuka. I might give Superfly Snuka number 4, because when that dude went on the top rope and freaking did the and just oh my god, I was all over that. I love Superfly Snuka, so I'm going to give him number 4. Superfly Snuka gets number 4. Number 3. It's hard not to include him on the list, but oh man, I think I have to. It's between 2. It would be between, because my top 2, I think I have, solidified. But number 3 is tricky because I could go between 2 different wrestlers for me personally. I probably would pick both. Yeah, man, who would I choose? It would be between Roddy Piper and because I loved Roddy Piper as a villain. He was hilarious to me. I loved him. It'd probably be between him and who was I thinking on the other side? Oh, and Bret Hart. I think those 2 were right up there. I don't know who I would go with. Maybe like 3A and 3B for me. I remember Doink the Clown. Yeah, I remember Doink the Clown. For sure. Piper was amazing. The ultimate heel. Yeah. I love Piper, man. I'll give it to Piper. Shit. I'm going to give it to Roddy Piper. Number 2 for me is Randy Macho Man Savage. Loved Macho Man. I would even filter in Ric Flair as my number 2 as well. I mean, those 2 are kind of interchangeable. But remember, like WWF, Ric Flair wasn't part of WWF for a long time, so I didn't really watch him as much because, again, it was always like my grandfather and my Uncle Joey kind of controlling the TV. So Ric Flair wasn't always, top of mind. But I got to appreciate Ric Flair as I got older. So I could probably put like Macho Man Savage 2, but Ric Flair as I got older in there as well. Number 1 for me, as much as I want to say Hulk Hogan because he like shaped the entire thing of wrestling for me, but the wrestler that had the biggest impact, the one that I got the most jacked up for, was Ultimate Warrior. Ultimate Warrior was my number one. When that dude came out to the ring, now he had a short-lived career, wasn't nearly as, he didn't have the longevity that many wrestlers had, like an Andre the Giant or a Hulk Hogan. But Ultimate Warrior for me was insane, and I loved when he ran out to the ring and just went crazy. So Ultimate Warrior for me would probably be number one. However, the moment in wrestling that I remember more than anything else when I think back, the one moment, it wasn't when Ultimate Warrior finally beat Hulk Hogan. It wasn't, the cage match. I mean, you could go back to Undertaker throwing Mankind from the top of the cage. The one moment that resonates me that I remember like it was yesterday was when Hulk Hogan slammed Andre the Giant in WrestleMania. That moment to me is one of the best, maybe the best wrestling moment of all time. Because it could never be done. And when Hulk Hogan did it, so Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant for me kind of like have that memory, but like my favorite wrestler ever was Ultimate Warrior. So, all right. That's my top 5. 3 is a Candy Bomb. Oh, that wasn't the first time. Well, that was the first time I remember Hulk slamming him, Girth. But yeah, you're probably right. Oh yeah, like you could get into like the top 5 managers. Man, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Paul Heyman, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. Dude, you could go on for days with those guys. We could do you want to do top 5 tag teams? Was I finish this up? Holy crap, it's 11:06 already. Sorry guys, I'm going a little late here, but we could do top 5 tag teams. All right, so 3 is definitely a Sweet Bomb. My top favorite tag team of all time, it's not even close. Number 1 is Legion of Doom. The Legion of Doom. Wait, or was it the... Yeah, it was the Legion of Doom. Legion of Doom was my favorite. My favorite tag team ever was the Legion of Doom. When friggin' Hawk and Animal came out with the spikes and the football pads, that was terrifying. Those are my favorite. That was my favorite, man. Oh, my God. Yeah, you had the Steiners. Undertaker, Mick Foley, Hell in the Cell was probably the greatest match I've ever watched. That thing was crazy. You guys remember Coco Beware with the parrot? Remember Coco Beware? Oh, man. The bourbon is drying on my shorts, and it's getting sticky. The British Bulldogs, I would put up there in my top 5. Love the British Bulldogs. The Snap Suplex was one of my favorite moves. Love that one. Oh, number 4 is incredible. Wow. Number 4 has this very, very rich. So it's not as sweet as 3 is, but it has. It's maybe just as sweet, but it's more of a. There's more layers to it. It's not just in your face sweetness like 3 is. Yeah, the Rockers were up there, I think, for me. Oh man, the Rockers. Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. The Dudleys. I love the Dudleys. I would probably put them in the top 5. Oh man, the Hart Foundation. The Hart Foundation was, I mean, that was the most technically sound wrestlers you were going to find. Oh yeah, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Oh my God, there's so many good ones. Oh, 4 is incredible. Out of all these, I think I know what 4 is. I'm not really sure about these. I may have a guess on 1, but 4, I might know what that one is. All right, let's go to 5. Oh. Wow. 5 is a beast. 5 has the proof. It's got spice. It's got sweet. It's got oak. 5 has a lot of what some of the other, like a couple, like, I don't know. These two are, I don't know. These two seem to be like missing a little something. 5 has a lot of, 5 has a little bit of everything. 80s was the gold. Oh man, the Minnesota Wrecking Crew, James Lay. Again, that might have been after. That might have been before my time, though. Holy shit. It's got a funky finish, though, on it. Again, very rye heavy on the back end of that one. I wonder if that's the, could that be the Four Roses? I don't know. All right. Last one here. Oh. Yeah, the Attitude Era was pretty amazing. Again, guys, let me show you real quick here before we sign off. Just a reminder, next week, it's going to be a huge week, guys. Nancy Fraley will be on the channel. She had sent me a box of samples, and just like that, she's going to probably make me look like an idiot. But I can't wait because I think it's going to be a pretty amazing night. She's entrusting me with trying some of her finest whiskeys. I don't know what she's sending, but I couldn't be more honored to be a part of this. Apparently, she's only doing it with me as like far as the whiskey tubers go. So I find that incredibly humbling, and I cannot wait. So if you want to see me next week fail, then tune in. Hopefully I won't spill anything on myself in front of Nancy. Wow, this is the most chocolatey out of all of them. Wow, that's a chocolate bomb. Chocolate, man, that is like peanut buttery, smooth chocolate. What the hell is that one? I think it's the Heaven Hill. That's crazy. All right, let's try to rank these a little bit here, guys. I know it's getting late. I got to get to bed because I got to be up in like 6 hours. So which one would I put? Let's try to start ranking these here. I really like this chocolate one. I think that's going to kind of resonate a little bit high for me. I really liked this one as well. Had a lot of balance, a little bit of a weird finish for me. I guess that could be maybe the Four Roses. Number 4 here is a beast. Number 4 is delicious. I'm going to keep number 4 kind of along the top for now. Number 3. Number 3 is up there too, man. Number 3 has a really, really sweet finish to it. I like it a lot. But it's almost cloyingly sweet. It's very sweet. And I'm trying to remember which one would be that sweet. I mean, could that be the Pappy? Pappy's generally a pretty sweet, except for the oaky ones. But when you're talking about like the 15-year, which is in this blind, I don't know. Let's go to 2. Or could that be the Russells? Maybe that's the Russells. See, now we get into kind of the oak monsters with these. Number 2, yeah, I like number 2 over 3 just because it's got the balance. Number 3 is candy, but then not much after that. Good proof point, but number 2 just has way more going on. And then number 1, has like that old school oak note to it. Maybe that's the Russells because I get that. I get that old school like quality on Russells as well. But I think 1 also has the least amount of finish. So, all right. So I think 4 and 2 are kind of my tops. So I'm gonna keep those where they are. So I don't want to lose count here and screw this up. All right. So 1, 3. I have to negotiate these 4. That one's a really sweet one. Where does this one land? I think this is going to be my last place one. I don't know. It's got a weird finish to it. I don't know. I think I like this one over this one. Even though it has like that spice-driven finish, I think that this one, yeah, this is an overall just a better experience. So I might keep it where it is. And between these two, which one do I like more? I think I like 1 over 3. Even though 3 has a better finish, 1 is more complex. This is straight up just Cherry Jolly Rancher to me. But there's not much beyond that. So I'm going to put that here and put that one here. Then it comes down to these for 1 and 2. The results here are going to be interesting. Yeah, this is my number 1, number 4. Number 4 is incredible. All right. I'm just going on pure impact on the palate. So, all right, guys, here we go. Before we sign off tonight, let's see who wins. Last place in this blind. This one almost made it to, this one could have flip-flopped here in the final 2 spots, but still all deliciousness. This one goes to letter F. Letter F goes to... Shit, no way. Okay. The Luxero 14 year. This is a delicious bottle. However, I didn't, compared to these other whiskeys, I didn't get much beyond the chocolate peanut butter. And being that this is Luxero 14 year whiskey, that makes sense because generally these are sourced from Heaven Hill. So there you go. All right. 5th place goes to letter E. Letter E goes to... No way. That's kind of surprising. I would... Wow, that's it. Okay, so letter E is going to go to... the Four Roses 135th. I'm sorry, guys. I thought this was going to do way better in the blind, to be honest. The Four Roses 135th. I think, again, when it comes to that weird finish, I think that this is... That's what Four Roses does. But, man, on this own, this is one of my favorite bourbons. I love the Four Roses 135th. That's crazy. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Let me do the quick, do the bottle shot here. There you go. 135th, coming in second to last place here. But, you know, I don't care what anybody says. I think the Four Roses limited LEs are the best. You know, what's great about the Four Roses LEs is that they come out the same time as BTAC does, and then nobody pays attention to the Four Roses because everyone's trying to get the BTAC. So I thought I had fucked up, but listen, blinds don't lie. All right, so let's go to number 4 here. Number 4. I'm sorry. 4th place goes to letter C. Letter C is no way. I don't have a bottle of it, but it's the Pappy 15. Letter C is the Pappy 15. So Pappy 15 gets 3rd place. Yeah. All right. There you go. Let me taste this one again. It makes sense. It's super sweet, and there's just nothing beyond that. That was the Jolly Rancher, the third glass. The third glass in the lineup went to, that was the one I wrote down. Jolly Rancher, super sweet. That's crazy. I mean, it's very good. I mean, I could see why people love Pappy 15. That is straight up candy in a glass. But compared to these other three, it just didn't do it for me. All right, let's see what got third place. Third place goes to that one, which is letter A. And that goes to, interesting, that goes to the Michter's from last year, the 2023. This is the A. This is one of the 23A barrels. One of the most popular bourbons last year. One of probably the best Michter's 10 years they've ever released. Again, there was controversy between A, B, C barrels, and then maybe losing some quality as it got up in the alphabet. But this A barrel that I got personally was absolutely incredible. So there you go. At least when it comes to the Michter's 10 year from last year versus Pappy 15, I like this better. All right. Second place goes to, no shit, Russell's 15, which means the winner Heaven Hill 17 takes it. Holy shit. Heaven Hill 17 is a beast. Heaven Hill 17 is an absolute monster of a bourbon. Come on. That is, oh my gosh, that's crazy. But Russell's 15 hung with it. I mean, it was close. So what's kind of interesting is that both of these were around the same price. I think the Heaven Hill 17 was also about $200, $250. So there you go. Shocked. Got a sample of HA17 last year. Is one of the best thing I've tasted. I mean, Heaven Hill 17, guys, there's a reason why it won Whiskey of the Year for me 2 years ago. That bottle is special. If I could get a backup, I would. If I could find one, I would. But it also goes to show you how good Russell's 15 is this year. It's going to be a hard-pressed fight for any other bourbon to come out this year that's going to overtake Russell's 15 for Whiskey of the Year. $250, be damned. It's that good. I think the couple bourbons that have the one bourbon, or the one whiskey that has a shot could be the Jack Daniel's 14. The Jack Daniel's 14 is still supposed to come out soon, so we'll see how that does. I mean, who knows? Birthday bourbon is going to be 107 proof, 12 years old. Could that do something? I don't know, man. But Russell's Reserve 15 is definitely a leader right now. But when you go back to that Heaven Hill 17 year, it is still, someone in the chat said it's been goated. I think it's been goated. Heaven Hill 17 for the win. So, all right, guys, with that said, like I always say, it's not about the whiskey, it's the people you share with. Thanks for watching tonight. Thanks for the support. It's great to be back. I think the whiskey kind of cleared out my sinuses because I'm feeling really good right now, unless I just don't feel it because of all the great whiskey tonight. So with that said, I'll be in Bardstown the next couple days. So if you're around, message me, come say hi. And I will see you guys next week with Nancy Fraley live. It's going to be scary. I'm scared. And I'm going to go clean my pants. Love you guys. Go check out Women of Whiskeys right now. They're doing a live birthday stream. And cheers, guys. I'll see you soon. Take care.